How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be basically going for a little POV drive in this 2017 Mercedes Benz C300. I just did the full review on it, so if you want like the actual specs and some of the numbers on it and things, that'll already be up on the channel. So if you're new to my channel, definitely be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Really does help me out a lot. But essentially, in the kind of POV driving videos that I do with some of the cars that I review, I like to kind of just say what I think about it just from a driving kind of experience standpoint, not really go into the specs, not really go into some of the more details, but just overall go for a drive. And one thing that I do really like to highlight in these videos is obviously the interior and your just overall perspective when driving these cars. And I do have to say that I really like enjoy doing these videos with the luxury cars that I film. Obviously this Mercedes Benz is definitely one of those luxury cars, so it is really nice to just kind of see its interior in full for you guys. And overall, this thing does have a really nice looking interior with a lot of different creature comforts and just a really cool design. I've always liked this entire, like, I guess, generation of Mercedes, from the outside design to just the overall interior and this kind of, like, I guess, cockpit. Definitely not the most driver focused interior out there. However, it does look really nice. The center console with kind of like the wood trim. I do know that this is a little bit, I guess, cheaper than some of the higher up models or whatever, but it still is nice in my opinion. But on this video, we're going to kind of go through a park, hop on the highway, going to do a couple like little pulls here and there, maybe test out the paddle shifters. And also, actually, before we even, I'm going to switch it over to Sport Plus mode because it does actually change the shift point. So now you're going to hear it rev up a little bit higher. The one thing that I do really dislike about this car when driving it and trying to drive it somewhat fast, and it's the same for most automatics with like most modern automatics with paddle shifters, is that it kind of doesn't have a manual mode per se. So I can use the paddle shifters now, and then maybe like if I'm taking this turn and I'm not really shifting, it'll put it back into automatic, which I just find a little bit annoying. But the paddle shifters are at least pretty responsive. That's another big issue with some of these kind of automatics with paddle shifters, is that they're not extremely responsive. Some of the ones that I drive, I mean, it's almost like a half-second delay. It's really ridiculous. But this does have pretty responsive paddle shifters. And then just kind of putting it in first here, and then we do have a green, so we can kind of punch it a little bit. But again, we're gonna basically just go right into traffic right now, so not really the best time to give it a little bit. But it does perform at least somewhat well for a more luxury focused vehicle. It still does have a 0 to 60 of 6 seconds flat. It makes right around 240 horsepower and right around 270 foot-pounds of torque. So that's really what is moving you. A lot of people talk about horsepower, but pretty much all the time it is torque. That's what actually is making it feel fast and making it accelerate much quicker. And also, this only weighs like 3,400 pounds, so definitely not super heavy. It does feel somewhat floaty around some corners, but that is to be expected. Again, at the end of the day, this is a luxury car, so it's made for comfort. It's definitely kind of putting comfort before performance. It's not like an AMG or anything like that. It's not one of those, I guess, more performance-based Mercedes, but it still is really nice. yeah, as you guys could see right there, kind of getting on it a little bit at the start of this like highway right here, it accelerates fairly quickly. It's definitely something that could very well be useful in traffic in a kind of like daily driver sense. This again definitely isn't more of a kind of performance based Mercedes or anything, but it is kind of nice. And also to have, you know, the 7 gears too. Like right now it's in 7th, it's right over 2,000 RPMs, and we're cruising just around like 75 or so. So it still is really nice. It's got nice long gears in it. A couple of like the first 2 or 3 gears are somewhat pretty short, so that does make it accelerate quite a bit. But that's also to, I guess, kind of like spool up the turbo and get some of that boost going. Also, there's no boost gauge in this, which I kind of understand. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Mercedes. It's not like you know, it's not like a WRX or anything, so it's not really what the people that are buying this really care about. But it would be nice to see, I guess, the actual amount of boost that this thing is pushing, because I could search it up online and I could edit it in the video right now, like its max boost PSI or whatever. But yeah, no, you really cannot see that at all because there's just no gauge for it. But again, this entire interior is just designed to be luxury focused, which at the end of the day, it is really nice. It is really comfortable. It's not the, I guess, best leather in the world, but it still is nice, and it can be definitely something that could be found on the used market now for somewhat cheap. I say that's kind of loosely, but I'll say affordable. I'll say affordable at least, because the one really bad thing about these Mercedes and these Maseratis and like a couple other brands is that they do depreciate a lot. But it is really good for fans of the brand who, you know, like a model or whatever, and then they're willing to wait a few years or so and then pick it up kind of used, because you can get them for much less than what they initially retailed at. And even just like you know, kind of going back and forth a little bit right here, going up to the red light, you can see a little bit of the body roll, and a little bit more of that weight is up front. But I mean, a front engine vehicle, like that's what you expect, I guess. So it's a little bit kind of nose heavy, but at the end of the day, it's still fine. Like, I'm being very nitpicky here, and probably the very last thing that I'll kind of complain about, but this isn't just this car. There's plenty of new automatics that have this problem. I feel like the new C8 has this problem, is that the paddle shifters are mounted to the steering wheel and not the steering column. I hate this so much. I know for anyone who's been subscribed to my channel, I sound like a broken record because I've complained about this so many times with so many different vehicles, but I feel like that's such an easy fix for manufacturers to just mount the paddle shifters to the column instead of the actual wheels, so that when you're turning, they're not like up here or anything. But yeah, let me know if I'm wrong, or let me know if you guys think like the same thing. I kind of feel like a bit of a Karen complaining about that, because literally every, I guess, new model has the paddle shifters on the steering wheel like this. So maybe I'm the only one. Maybe a lot of you guys out there enjoy it on the steering wheel. I just feel like I absolutely hate it. And again, I just think that it's such an easy fix that some of these manufacturers can do, and it really won't cost them anything. Now with the Sport Plus mode, obviously it does change the shift points, so it's not the best for cruising. So now that we're kind of cruising in traffic, I'm going to switch it back to comfort. In Eco, it cuts the shift points even further, again, to like save on MPGs. But at the end of the day, like, it's not really anything too crazy. I do like how they have individual mode. I'll edit in a little clip. So individual mode, you can actually basically customize yourself, which I think that is really nice. But again, for the remainder of this video, I'm just going to kind of keep it in comfort now. And when it is in comfort, it becomes extremely quiet in the interior. I just did a review on a 2016 Escalade. I'll leave the link to that on top of this video right now. But honestly, I feel like it's almost the same. Now, yes, that's like a 5,100 pound huge SUV, definitely a little bit more higher end, but just the overall, like the volume in the cabin is extremely quiet. And if I shut up for a bit, you guys will actually, like, you'll experience a little bit of it too. But like right there, I'm sure some of you guys could immediately, you know, right off the bat, tell the difference between it in comfort mode and it in Sport Plus mode. So I'm sure that there's probably some baffles maybe in the exhaust too, because it definitely does get a substantial amount louder in the Sport or the Sport Plus mode. But anyways, that's pretty much just gonna be it for me today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this 2017 Mercedes Benz C300 4MATIC. It was a blast to drive this. I'm going to now you know, bring it back. It was a lot of fun. Again, if you haven't already, definitely be sure to check out the full review on it. That's where I kind of go a lot more in detail. Right now, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip and telling you guys how I feel about it and how I just feel driving it, and just kind of like my first impressions of it. But anyways, again, that's pretty much just gonna be it for today's video. While you are down there in the comments section, definitely be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Really does help me out a ton. But thank you for sticking to the end of today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed today's video, click on either of these links right here to watch a similar video from this channel, or click on the little circle link right there to actually subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. I do appreciate all the support, but thank you for sticking to the end of this video, and I hope you have a fantastic day.